Good afternoon, guys. So I just wanted to share this feeling with you. I've seen two videos in the last week or so that another brother and sister have at least voiced it, and I've been feeling it for a little while, probably in the last 4 or 5 months, but more so in the last month, maybe 3 weeks. There have been some events that took place that makes me feel like it's the end. There's a sense of finality. There's no anxiousness. There's no fear. There's no feeling of gloom or something bad is going to happen. I do feel like something bad is going to happen, but there's no fear of whatever calamity that may come to this nation and to this earth. If you watch my channel, I would say up until about 2 years ago, I had many dreams and visions and open visions. I mean, I couldn't wash dishes. I couldn't drive without having an open vision. Okay. And the Lord was showing me things that happened soon after. And a lot of those things are happening now. I'm very overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed then, but to see those things that He showed me, that like I said, a lot of it I shared, or all of it I shared, come to pass, and more things on top of that. I'm just overall, I am grateful, however, that the Lord chose little old me to show. I have about 900 videos. Okay, you guys. There was, like I said, there wasn't a time where I wouldn't have a dream, an open vision, and a closed eye vision, 3 or 4 a day. And the Lord was discipling me as I was being discipled by people here on earth, but He was leading and guiding me, and that occupied a lot of my time, which I'm actually grateful for. I was a heathen back in the day, okay? So when I told the Lord that I would serve Him, He used me. I emptied myself out, and He He filled me up as a vessel to use. Okay, you guys, that was my reasonable service. I don't feel no type of way about others coming on the scene now, sharing those things. I had my season. I'm actually too tired to, if I were to be overwhelmed with something like that in these final, 3 years or so, I couldn't take it. Okay, just because of health reasons and things that went on with Myra. So the Lord knows what He's doing, and it's the last days. Everybody, sons, daughters, young, old, they're coming up. But I said all that to say that it was a lot of times back then that I didn't feel any. And I would see the most horrible things, I would get prophecy on the most horrible things. And I would always have the ability to disconnect myself from the things that the Lord was showing me in the Spirit, and be able to share them and encourage everyone and say, hey, don't fear, it's getting close. Or, I don't really care if we're going home. I would say that a lot. I didn't, not care, but, I wasn't really concerned about the timing of the rapture. And I'm not really, I didn't really say it just because I wasn't in an uncomfortable, I had uncomfortable things happen. Of course, I was always ready to go home, but it never was a thing where I was just like, oh, wish the rapture would happen today. But there are a few things that happened in this last few months that just gives me a sense of finality, and I don't know how to describe it. I know part of it is by the Lord Himself. A brother mentioned feeling stagnant, feeling as if doors are closing, feeling as if he can't make a move left or right. And I can understand that, because sometimes the Lord will, yeah, sometimes the Lord does that just to have you keep still, or to protect you. But in these last few weeks, we need the most protection. And if you're not in tune, if you're not aware of how the Lord communicates, you can go out and, just think now, right now, with everything going on, the economic climate, the verge of war, the Fed now, the digital currency, the contamination of our water, the geoengineering, the sun. The sun is one thing that really, when we had a huge solar CME, that if it had been earth facing, or soon, if that particular spot had been earth facing, even after that, we could have had a keratin event, which was happening back in the 1920s, and it just would have wiped everything out, electronics, everything. That was one of the maybe three things that's happened in the last few weeks that made me think, okay, this is actually like for real. Like, we can't go on with the sun doing what it's doing. We definitely cannot be here for the mark of the beast in the digital global currency. They anticipate July, but if something pops off with WW3 before then, they'll definitely be able to implement the Fed now digital currency here in the United States before then. And you better believe they have a plan in place to do so, because even that particular concept, as you know, it's been written before in biblical prophecy, and a lot of the things as far as technology and advancement, they have had planned years and decades prior, and they just slowly roll those things out for us for their ultimate agenda. And their agenda is NWO. But I think maybe the last thing is relationships that I know the Lord would have had myself, just people that I know that He placed in my life. I can see Him shutting the doors if I hadn't taken a step back and looked and understood and asked and this and that. I would think that the Lord, that it's the enemy, but it's the Lord bringing finality to a lot of things, including relationships, jobs, places that I can go, even though I'm pretty much, I would say, I wouldn't say antisocial, but I'm definitely not conformed to this world, have no interest in the things of this world, especially knowing how things work. It's finality to a lot of things. So I don't want this video to be too long, but I wanted to share that with you. And there are a lot of other things that I can say. I know that dream that I had about not seeing any dates in March, and then picking up a calendar where there was a rainbow on featured as that particular picture for the month of March. I said boldly that I felt like, because I can't think of any other reason why there would be no dates in March. Like, can we not count on being here in the month of March? Is that the Lord's way of saying that? Or we just have to play it by ear as far as being able to see things that were happening in the month of March? Of course, I had this dream back in, I don't know, January, February. And just those types of things. And I said before, and I've never done this before, or maybe as far as going home, I did make one declaration, and I did come back years ago and say, no, I got the timing wrong when the Lord showed me this and this about this particular leader or whatever. I was thinking it was going to happen at one time, but then he brought great revelation and great confirmation of it just a little bit longer later than what I believed. So I'm not saying, oh, I think we're going home in March, and I think it's funny to give everyone false hope. I'm telling you what I truly believe, and I wouldn't publicly say it if I didn't really believe it, because I don't want to be a stumbling block. I don't want to give false hope, and I don't want to be erroneous in the things that I say when it comes to things of the Lord, and definitely not based on a dream, because I definitely can also still see the prophecies of the Bible popping off the pages, and I'm amazed. I'm sure prophets of old and the people, the disciples would have loved to see things like this, but they had their own thing to deal with. And just because we're going to have war probably here in the United States doesn't mean that the rapture is happening. Because we're not immune to things like that happening. But of course, it will cause a domino effect, and it just so happens to culminate with things that are going on worldwide, prophecy-wise, and end time, eschatology-wise. Okay, you guys, that's it. You can share your thoughts. I just was so glad to see a brother and sister kind of come out and say what I felt, because I've never felt that way. Even with everything the Lord showed me that I've shared with you guys, I've never felt like, oh my gosh, like this has to be the end. I have a peace about it, but I have an awareness about the finality. All right, I love you guys. I'll talk with you later. Share your thoughts. And I just want to let you know that we're going home. I really, 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 really feel like that. I was bold in declaring that to my mother when she passed. And I didn't, it had to be the Spirit of the Lord when that happened. When I told her that, I just knew that I knew that I knew. Okay, you guys, that's it. Share your thoughts. I'll talk to you later.